Welcome to the Lindsay and Tony podcast, where we talk about spirituality, business, and life experiences.
In this podcast, we're bringing our private conversations to you.
We believe that it's through discussion, action, and reflection that true change occurs.
Hi everybody, welcome to episode 14, How to Live Your Ideal Life. In this episode, we help you get clear on how to live the life that you actually want to live, and not live the life that your parents or your teachers or society wants you to live. Enjoy the show, everybody.
Hi guys, welcome back. We're so excited that you're here. Today is going to be such a valuable episode for you. And today we're talking all about lifestyle. And we thought this was such an important topic to talk about because it's so important to us.
So valuable because lifestyle, it's how you're living your life. Like, it's the real deal. It's what are you doing, from January through December? What does that look like? And for a lot of people, it doesn't look like how they want it to look like. It doesn't feel how they want it to feel. And that's why we made this episode, because trust me, I was there before at one point, and I'm sure Lindsay was there at different points too, to where, and I remember Lindsay, at one point you were working 3 different jobs.
Yes.
Right after college, she was a fairy at the mall. I
was a bartender, babysitter, tutor.
Ronald McDonald.
No, I wasn't.
But
substitute teacher.
But there's different times where you go through these periods of your life to where you may not enjoy the lifestyle you're living. I had it too before, to where I was constantly working, going to school, and it was just like a drag. But I believe there's certain times in your life to where it may look like that to get to where you're going. But when the dust settles, when you figure out the direction that you're going, when you figure out what you're truly passionate about and what you love, then you go straight on to it. And then you start to create a lifestyle with it. And sometimes you end up liking that lifestyle, and sometimes you don't.
Right. In a lot of the times, the lifestyle actually is created because of the patterns in our life as children. So you may see how your parents have lived and what you've been raised to think is the right thing to do, or is the comfortable thing to do and the secure thing to do. And we were all raised to go to school Monday through Friday. Some of us went from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. or 7 to 3, whatever it may be. And we had our vacation time, and then we would go back to school. And we were considered, we were like little working bees in school all day, Monday through Friday. So the days that we got to fully live were on Saturdays and Sundays. And I think that our society, a lot of the jobs that come through, that's sort of what they do for their employees. They might get 2 weeks off out of 365 days, where they have, 14 days out of that whole chunk of time that they can get vacation time. And then they have Saturday and Sunday out of a whole week that they get a break from. Now, if you like that lifestyle, that's great. If you don't like your job and you're just settling in that lifestyle, reevaluate. That's exactly why we're creating this episode, because we want you to think outside of the box and get clear. What is it that you want?
Exactly. And when you do this, when you think about the lifestyle that you want to live, and you think about how you want to spend your year and your life, we want you to do it authentically. We want you to really be true to yourself. Like, don't lie about it. I know there's a lot of times where I ask people, hey, do you like where you're working? And you could tell by the grin, or, immediately, I pick up on facial expressions the first instant that you ask it. And then they go into naming, well, yeah, I do like it because of the benefits, and because I'm off 2 weeks, and because of this and this. So no, they really don't like it. So be genuine, be authentic with yourself. Do you like the lifestyle you're living? So even if you went to school and you spent all of this time to become a doctor, and say you're a doctor right now, but maybe you hate the lifestyle of being a doctor. The money's good, and everybody in society, oh, you're a doctor, and they congratulate you, and you love that, but you just totally hate the lifestyle of it. You don't like the work that you do. You don't like, that you're only off so many weeks out of the year. And so we're making this episode to get you to think about it. Do you like the lifestyle that you're living? And to be 100% honest with yourself.
Right. And that, when Tony just mentioned, when you just brought that up, I thought of some people are in relationships where they're kind of going with the flow of their partner. So maybe you're not sure on what lifestyle you want, but your partner is very confident in what they're doing and you kind of go with that flow, but you're not living in your own power, in your own decisions. So I think that it's important to think about timing, how often you want to work. Think about the space even that you're living in. I mean, at one point, Tony and I were living in a 1-bedroom apartment, and at that point, we knew it was going to be temporary. We lived in a certain location in Tampa. It's called Hyde Park. It's near all the little shops, so we could, walk from our place wherever we wanted, and it was good for that moment. But we knew in our hearts that we would probably stay there for a year or two, and then we would go and purchase a townhouse. Now, if you're listening, you may be the type of person where you want to live in a house. For us, we thought, you know what, townhouse is perfect for us. Because one of the things that we love to do is to travel and to be with family. And we go back and forth between places.
Right, so we go back and forth all the time. The lifestyle that we're living now, if you would have told me that this is how I was going to live when I'm 30 years old, and you would have told me this when I was 15, or even when I was 20, I would have believed you, but I would have been like, wow, that's amazing. And guess what? This lifestyle that Lindsay and I live now, some of you might see us on social media, how we travel a lot and we're still able to work and do what we love. Well, this didn't just happen overnight. Like literally, this is taking place over 7 years of working together on the weekends. When I first met Lindsay, I was still in college. Lindsay was a teacher in the public school system. She didn't even start her mediumship business yet. And that's where we started at. But when we first came together, instantly we started to mastermind, as you can learn about in one of our other episodes, The Power of Masterminds. And we started to communicate with each other and get clear on the vision of where we're going. And we started to do this pretty much like almost every day, and a lot of times on the weekends. And every time we talked about it like there was infinite possibilities, because we both believe that. So I would say when you're creating your lifestyle, look at it from the perspective of the infinite, that you could create whatever lifestyle you want to create, and to really get clear about how you actually want to live. And then once we got clear about it, like I said, this all happened over 7 years, slowly but surely. Lindsay started her online business, and that took her out of the school system. I graduated from college. I started to build my teaching skills, and then Lindsay learned the online game, and it slowly pulled me out of the school system as we worked together. Now, we both work from home. We both have online education businesses. We travel all around the country, pretty much a lot of the time throughout the year, and we plan on going pretty much all over the world, sharing our message, living the lifestyle how we want to live, working when we want to work, with who we want to work, where we want to work.
Yeah, and that's the most amazing thing to do, is to get clear on that, is what is good for you. And I know that's something that we like to do, but you might be happier sitting in a small town, being at home, being nice and cozy with family, but not really going outside of that town. And that's totally fine too. So, but don't be afraid to try different things to see what's a good fit for you. So I actually wrote some things down to think of when you're thinking about your lifestyle. So you want to think about the amount of time that you want to spend working, I'm putting in quotes, because you might love work and it doesn't feel like work, which is a good thing. Your space, how you want to live, what kind of space you want to live in. The family and friends that you're connected to or you spend time with. Travel, if you want that in your life. Education, are you someone that's the type of person where you want to continue to learn? Is that part of your lifestyle? I know for Tony and I, we love learning, and we'll always be learning and we'll always be teaching. And then also think about the location that you want to live in. Do you want something like Hawaii, or are you someone that loves to be around the mountains? You don't need to go to these places once a year. If you feel this pull, allow yourself to go with it. And don't wait for retirement. Tony and I, actually you weren't with me in this situation, but I went for a walk around my neighborhood a couple years ago, and I ran into the neighbor, and he said, how are you doing? What are your plans for the summer? And we got talking, and I said, oh yeah, we're gonna be traveling. We're gonna go up north like we usually do. And he said, oh, that's great. My wife is retiring in, I think it was like 5 years. He said, and then we're going to start traveling and we're going to do these things. And when I left him, I had this feeling of sadness that he has to wait. He thinks that he has to wait 5 years for her to retire for them to fully live. And they waited all of their life to spend the money that they made over the course of whatever amount of years to wait to travel. And most likely in 5 years, they may not have that same energy that they wanted to have while traveling.
And once again, if Lindsay sat down with a guy and asked, hey, do you enjoy this? Is this how you want to live? We both get the sense that he would say no. He would want to travel right now. And that's the thing. It would be okay if that's how you want to live. Some people are like that, to where you could stay in one location, and you might live in a small town to where you lived there your whole life, and the local butcher and everybody, and you just like that. You feel comfortable with it, and it genuinely makes you happy. You don't have to travel. You don't have to live how me and Lindsay live. But the point is to be honest with yourself. If you want to, you have to do it. And I believe that you don't really know if you enjoy something until you do it. So Lindsay brought up travel and education. I realized over the last 7 years, and I say over the last 7 years because I've done the majority of my traveling of my life over the last 7 years, and I've realized that when I'm traveling and I'm moving, I'm more creative. I got way more creative thoughts flowing into my head. 2, I soak in education like a sponge. It's like if I'm reading a book on the beach in Hawaii, or like even in a random town in North Carolina or something, for some reason, the newness of the environment, everything, it brings this fresh aliveness to me that causes me to soak in more information, which is one of my other passions, is educating myself. So I know that if I want to educate myself, me personally, to the highest degree possible, I need to integrate travel into my life. And if I want to be the best that I could be, and I want to be as creative as I could be, traveling is the key for me.
Yeah, I love that. That's so true. And that's why Tony and I get along so well the majority of the time. But
except for before we were recording just now.
But no, we do. Luckily we have the same mindset, so that kind of stuff we're good with too. But one of the things that I want to say about that too is I feel like as humans, naturally we want to expand and grow like flowers and plants. And when we feel like we're restricted, then that's when we start to get drained energetically. So in health-wise, we can feel that in our physical body too. Usually our soul and our emotions are telling us first. We might not get the hint, and then it becomes more physical, where we do feel exhausted. We might get migraines or whatever it may be. So I think that you should look at that. Is your job, the place that you're working at the majority of the time, is it allowing you to expand and grow, or do you feel really restricted? So think about that, because we are natural flowers, and we're constantly growing, and we need the nutrients of learning, and we need the nutrients of feeling like we can be in an environment that makes us feel supported and filled with that creativity that we all need to release into the world, whether it's by speaking online, or it's even writing your own thoughts in your journal, or speaking to your family, whatever it may be. Like, we have to use that energy and put it out into the world somehow. So I think the big thing for us is for you, if you're listening, is to think about, am I living in a space? Just thinking about your actual house right now. How do you feel about the actual place that you're living in? Is it an apartment, a townhouse? Is it like a 3-bedroom house? Is it something that's feeling restrictive? Think about those feelings, and are you happy in that physical space? So think about that. That's one thing, don't you think, is important?
Right. Definitely, yeah, because it all starts, your house is the foundation of everything. So going back to our house, thank God I was open-minded when we went to go look for houses, because at first I wanted to have a house with a yard. I don't know why I wanted that. I think it was just in my head for some reason. And then we start to really think about, wait, what's our lifestyle like? We started to talk to our real estate agent, told him what we wanted to do. He gave us advice, and he said, look, if you guys are traveling a lot and if you're trying to rent this out, maybe a townhouse would be good. And I was open to that. And I started to think about it. And yes, now when we leave, and we leave, pretty often, our grass is taken care of. If anything is messed up around, on the outside of the house or anything, it's taken care of. We have all kinds of neighbors around to watch over our place. We have a security guard that, sits out right in front of our place. Everything is taken care of us to fit our lifestyle. If we would have got that house, it would have been just a lot harder to do what we do. We would have been calling back, having people check on our house. We would have had to hire a landscaping company, figure it out, all that. It's just, so you want to set up every little piece that's in your life to make your life effortless.
Yeah.
Or make your life seem effortless. I think Romeo's having a dream right now.
He is. Romeo's sitting
Sorry,
with us
I kind of
right
threw
now.
me off for a second. He's shaking on the couch over here.
No, he's okay. But for the record, I actually said that we should have a townhouse. And Tony's like, really? I don't know. I kind of feel like... But anything can change, because when we feel that nudge, we listen and we're not afraid to change. So when we feel that feeling of we need expansion and we want to change something, we listen to that and take little baby steps to get towards that, to go towards that direction.
Yes. Just like, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I was thinking when you're saying that, everybody's probably heard this before, but you have a plant that's outgrows the what do you call it that it sits in?
The porcelain pot
or whatever it is. Well, it outgrows it, and if you don't move that plant to another location, it's not going to grow anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It kind of stunts the growth. That's how I felt in the public school system. That's how Lindsay felt at the end. And it wasn't because we hated our job. I love teaching. I found so much fulfillment in it, but I got to a point at my school, in my district, to where I felt like I was not grown anymore. And I felt like the lifestyle was great. As a teacher, you're off all the time and everything like that. But the whole lifestyle as a whole, the repetitiveness of it, going back and forth, and not only that, just not being able to grow anymore. And it's something that you could only feel internally. I start to feel like I was not growing at a fast rate anymore, even though I was at like the peak of my game as a teacher. Like I was starting to get momentum. I was starting to get on fire as a teacher. I felt it. So my point here is...
Teacher of the Year.
Yeah, I ended up getting Teacher of the Year, and everything was going great. Started a coffee business with my entrepreneurship class, and that started to go throughout the whole district. Everything was going good, and then I left. So my whole point here is like, just because things might be going good at your job or wherever you're at, you still have, they might be going good on the outside. You still have to tune in on the inside and ask yourself, is this where I would need to be for the next year and the next year? And I kind of look at it as a year by year thing, because it's hard to really look far past that. You really got to tune in. And if it's not, even if you're at the peak of your career, it's time to make a change.
Yes. Make the change. Don't be afraid of that change. And I love what you said about, even if you're at the peak of your career, to make a change, because that's when some people kind of stick with it and they stay there and they think everything's going good. I'm getting rewarded for doing well. And luckily you trusted that timing, even though everything was going great. He left the school system because he knew in his gut and his heart that there was something beyond what was happening. And I think as teachers, the next level up would be principal. And both of us didn't want to do that. It wasn't like we were pulled to that.
Right. You gotta be pulled there. It's that internal pull. Dr. Wayne Dyer always talks about how there's an internal pull inside you. The first 9 months of when you're in the womb, it's causing all the food, all the resources, everything to shape your face. And when you come, your face and your whole body, and when you come to the outside reality, it's no different. You still have that internal pull that's pulling you towards your authentic reality, the same way it pulled you towards your authentic body. And it's authentic because you have it. It's proof. So if you tune in and you listen to that pull, like I was doing in that moment, even though I was at the peak of my career as a teacher, I got Teacher of the Year, all these rewards. Everybody's saying, oh, you're really good at teaching, blah, blah, blah. And it was building my ego up really high. I still was constantly tuning into that internal pull, and it pulled me in a new direction, even though everybody else was telling me to go the other direction.
Yes, and that actually goes perfectly with following your own inner pull rather than listening to the outside voices, because you will get told what to do, whether it's from your family just by looking at it, or actually listening to the voices that are like trying to pep you up and say, stay with it, don't leave us, because all the kids and the teachers wanted you to stay there.
Yeah,
you were great.
They did, and a lot of them understood too, because
Yeah.
once I explained it to them, but definitely.
They knew. So one of the things that you can do is actually, I'm really big on visions, like vision boards, and Tony's really into imagination too. And I think getting clear on what it is that you want, start by getting some magazines at the store, cutting out magazine clips. If there's an area that you feel pulled to that you may want to live in, cut those magazine pictures out, cut out words that you want to feel, put it on a poster board. Another thing that I use personally as a vision board is Pinterest. Pinterest is absolutely amazing. And when you are pinning things or creating your vision board, having that emotion come up is so powerful. And I think we even talked about this in the manifestation episode. But you can do that for your lifestyle, getting very clear on what you want to spend your time on. And remember, think outside of the box, because you do not have to be locked into Monday through Friday, 8 hours a day. You can choose 4 hours, 3 days a week to work. And then maybe your focus more is on educating yourself or spending time with family and friends, whatever it may be. Maybe retreats is your thing. Think about the things that you want to spend time on.
Right. So do the vision boards like Lindsay's saying. That's a huge thing. And when you're doing this, when you're creating this vision, make sure that you do it honestly. And you don't have to tell nobody about it. You don't even have to tell your spouse. Like if your spouse is going to give you a lot of resistance about it, I would say not to. Just kind of get clear on by yourself if you need to. Don't tell anybody about it, and be honest with yourself. Tune into your heart and be honest with yourself about the lifestyle you want to live. And not only be honest, that's one rule. I don't usually like rules, but that's one rule. The next rule is to be infinite. Like, come from a space of infinite possibilities.
Yeah.
So be honest, come from a space of infinite possibilities, and remember that when you're creating this vision, you use your talents and use your gifts to create the vision. What I mean by that is, if you're an artist, paint it or draw it. If you're a rapper or a singer, sing about it, rap about it. If you're a writer, write about it. If you're like me, do all of them, because I literally like to do all of them a little bit, or use your imagination. But the whole point is to get clear about it, get very clear about it, and then infinite possibilities, and be honest.
Yes, I love that. That's so perfect. And I could say Tony he sings and raps all the time about what he wants. And it works, actually. It brings it in faster. But we hope that this helped you. If there's something that you want to share with us, the lifestyle that you feel that you know that you want and you expect it to happen, share it with us. We want to hear. We want to hear exactly what you're thinking and any moments that came up during listening to this episode that helped you get even more clear than you were before.
Yes. And once again, we appreciate all the feedback and the comments, and when you do tell us what you learned from the episode, and when you share, hey, this is what I want my lifestyle to be like. We really do appreciate that. We love the engagement, and we will see you all on the next episode.
Yes. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.
We hope you enjoyed this episode as much as we did. If you liked it, leave a 5-star review on iTunes, and remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel too.
If you can think of anyone else that would love this episode, share it with them right now on social media or email. And remember, getting results is a process of learning, applying, and reflecting. Stay consistent and continue to grow every day.